The confetti rained down, a kaleidoscope of colors against the opulent ballroom. 10-year-old Leo, a miniature King Solomon in his tailored suit, beamed. His birthday party was a spectacle, a testament to his father, Damien's, success. Damien, a man carved from ambition and draped in an aura of power, surveyed the room, a ghost of a smile playing on his lips. He'd spared no expense. This party wasn't just a celebration, it was a declaration, but amidst the joyous chaos, a chill snaked through the air. A priceless antique clock, a family heirloom, had vanished. Damien, his jovial mask slipping, turned to his son. "Leo," he said, his voice low, "I need you to find it." Leo, raised on a steady diet of moral stories for kids and the triumphant tales, felt a thrill course through him. He'd always loved short stories in English, especially those with a hint of mystery. This was his chance to live one. He remembered the Buddhist short story Damien had read him, about the importance of observation, and the stone story about life, about the value of inner strength. He would dare to do this. "I will, Father," he declared, his voice ringing with newfound confidence. He was inspired by the courage stories his father told him at bedtime, and the lesson stories they discussed afterwards. He wanted to be brave, to show his father he understood the importance of know your worth. The guests, a mix of business tycoons and socialites, became suspects. There was Mrs. Hawthorne, with her nervous laugh and wandering eyes, Mr. Sterling, always quick with a compliment but slow to offer genuine friendship, and even Damien's closest associate, Victor, who seemed unusually tense. Leo, fueled by motivation and dare-to-do motivation, began his investigation. He questioned the staff, eavesdropped on conversations, and even examined the security footage, mimicking the detectives in his English story books. He remembered the inspirational story of a young boy who solved a complex puzzle, and he felt a surge of determination. He knew he could do this. He found clues, a stray thread from Mrs. Hawthorne's dress snagged on a candelabra, a faint scent of Mr. Sterling's cologne lingering near the clock's usual place, and Victor's nervous fidgeting with his cufflinks, identical to a pair Damien owned. As the party wound down, Leo gathered his suspects. He felt like a character from one of his fairy tales for teenagers, standing at the precipice of a great revelation. He presented his findings, laying out each piece of evidence with the precision of a seasoned detective. "All eyes were on him, I believe," Leo announced, his voice steady, "that the clock was taken by." He paused, building the suspense. "No one." A collective gasp rippled through the room. "What do you mean, no one?" Damien asked, his brow furrowed. Leo explained. He pointed to the security footage. The clock hadn't been stolen. It had simply malfunctioned. The mechanism, old and delicate, had given way, causing the clock to fall behind a hidden panel in the wall. He'd found it there, tucked away, unharmed. Relief washed over Damien's face. He embraced Leo, praising his cleverness. But as the guests departed, a strange unease settled over Leo. Something didn't feel right. He looked at his father, at the subtle flicker in his eyes, the almost imperceptible tightening of his jaw. Then, he remembered a conversation he'd overheard earlier, a hushed discussion between Damien and Victor about a business deal gone sour, a deal that hinged on securing a particular antique. A chilling realization dawned on Leo. His father hadn't wanted the clock found. He'd used the supposed theft as a distraction, a way to subtly accuse Victor, to leverage him into finalizing the deal. He had used his own son, his love for moral stories and his desire to prove his know your worth, as a pawn in his game. Leo stared at his father, the man who had taught him about moral stories, about dare to do, about the importance of honesty. The man who had, in the space of a single evening, shattered his perception of the world. Damien met his gaze, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes. He didn't deny it. He didn't need to. Leo understood. The King Solomon story had taught him about wisdom. But tonight, he'd learned a different lesson, a harsh one. Sometimes, the greatest mysteries aren't solved with clues and deductions, but with the painful unraveling of the truth about the people you thought you knew best. And sometimes, the most inspirational story is the one you write yourself, even when it's a story you never wanted to tell. This wasn't just a moral story, it was his life, and it had just taken a sharp, unexpected turn.